British MPs have just voted in favour of holding an early election on June the 8th. Lawmakers said yes by a resounding 522 votes to 13 to back Prime Minister Theresa May's call for the early vote, easily passing the required two-thirds majority. The next election wasn't due until 2020, but May says it's in the nation's best interests to hold it now. Well, let's join Sarah Morris, who's live for us in London with more details. So, as expected, Sarah, MPs have voted for a June election. So what happens next?
Well, we know that Parliament is going to be dissolved on May the 3rd, and then this election will be held in June, in just over 7 weeks' time. Now, surely in the scheme of elections, that's a very short lead up to an election. Now, it might be wonderful news for everyone who has to endure an election campaign, but for the parties themselves, this is a bit of a challenge. None of them knew this election was coming, and they now need to get organised for it. They need to nail down their campaign platforms. They probably need to find candidates to field in many of the electorates that they need to try and win. So there's a lot of business going on behind the scenes. I think they'll be almost like ducks, lots of paddling underwater but trying to look calm on the top. And really, we've even seen a little bit of that in Parliament today. It was quite clear as it got heated that the election campaigning has really started here in the UK.
And tell us about the debate that went on in the House of Commons beforehand, because, you know, although there was support for an early election, there were some pretty heated debates.
That's exactly right. You wouldn't know it looking at the result of that vote, because only 13 people voted against the government's call for the snap election. But when you heard the debate that led into this, it certainly was feisty. The leaders particularly, and many of the MPs, were trading barbs. The opposition parties starting their campaigning and really saying that the public should not and cannot trust Theresa May because she's a backflipper. She said all along she wouldn't call an early election, and now she has. They criticised her as well for refusing to take part in the television debates we often see in the lead up to elections. Now, she and her office are saying she won't backflip on that. She's certainly not going to be taking part in these debates. She doesn't think they're the right way to go about the campaigning. She believes in getting on the ground and meeting the people whose votes do matter. So certainly she was attacked from all angles, from all opposition parties. We heard Liberal Democratic members saying that actually this was just naked opportunism, that this was Theresa May almost kicking the dog when it's down, so to speak, because of course Labor is doing so badly in the polls at the moment that it doesn't look like it's got any chance of winning or even really being much of a problem to the Conservative Party in this election. And so they believe really Theresa May has taken this opportunity to make sure she wins another election before either she starts losing popularity or Labor, which has got plenty of internal divisions, manages to pull itself together and perhaps start rising in the polls. So we saw an aggressive speech from her main opposition in Jeremy Corbyn, but also in the Liberal Democrats, who are taking this opportunity to have an election to really offer an alternative to the Prime Minister. They want to offer a soft Brexit, and surely in this divided country that we're in at the moment, where there is a lot of people who don't want Brexit at all and would be much happier with a soft Brexit rather than Theresa May's hard Brexit, perhaps they will gain some seats here.
Indeed, but a lot of people saying this is a smart move by Theresa May because she's so far ahead in the polls, and what she wants more than anything is to greatly increase her majority in Parliament. It's very small at the moment, so that she can push through the kind of Brexit she wants to see.
That's certainly been her argument. She says that the opposition is threatening to block her Brexit strategy. However, when you look at what the opposition has done so far, it actually hasn't blocked any of the Brexit bills she's put into Parliament. So while she's saying she needs a bigger majority to fight off the opposition, the other side of the coin is perhaps she needs a bigger majority to fight off her own rebel MPs. At the moment, her majority is so wafer thin that to get their support, she's probably having to make some pretty big concessions to her own MPs. Now, if she has a bigger majority, she won't have to perhaps be held as hostage by those rebel MPs as she has been so far. So it's just as much, I think, about working out some internal politics within the Conservative Party as it is about trying to fend off the opposition who might be trying to block her Brexit strategy. On top of that, of course, also is the other scepticism that actually this is a power grab. She's seen an opportunity to get herself another 5 years in power because her opposition really is so hopeless at the moment and couldn't possibly win this election.
OK, Sarah, thank you for that. Sarah Morris there, live in London.